Tēnā tātou katoa namahinoi, and that is hello everyone and welcome to Manifestors Unite. I'm the founder, Carmel Riley from Aotearoa, New Zealand, and it is my great pleasure and honour to be here with Amy Huntelman and Carl Hunter, the founders of MindFlavors, to talk about all things mind expanding, consciousness expanding, and wherever else we go today. Thank you, Amy and Carl, for coming along.
Thank you for having us.
Yes. Was there anything you'd like to add to your purpose, your connection with MindFlavors that I left out in that very brief intro?
Well, MindFlavors is a very accelerated technology that really opens up the mind to experience higher levels of consciousness. And together we do 30-day transformations using this technology. It's very highly accelerated technology that I actually created. We're just celebrating 10 years now since time when I created that. And Amy and I came together to work with both the mind and the body. The MindFlavors works very much on the mind, and Amy balance that in working with body.
We'll have the links below for how they can access your program.
I'd like to also say that presently we are offering a complimentary session if someone would like to experience the MindFlavors technology. And for that, they can go to mindflavors.com/experience.
So how did you both come to developing this technology together, and how do you bring you talked a little bit about Amy's practices with breath, with the body, which I've experienced some breathwork leadership, and your side, Carl, with the technology. Well, how did you actually come to decide that this was something that was important to you to devote 10 years of mahi, as we would say, in this passion for your business?
It's actually been lifetimes in the making, and we've been together 34 years. And when we met, we were just beginning to be on this path in this life. And right before I met Carl in this life, I had just learned that I can create my own reality by how I think, I feel, how I see things. And he was already on that path. And when I met him, he taught me this process of writing power declarations before we go to sleep at night. And we had remarkable results with that. And along the way, we just had so much that we were choosing to up-level and clear and elevate. And we were always on the search for how can we do this faster? Because a lot of modalities were like one belief at a time, one feeling at a time, and it was taking too long. And we said, let's go faster. So that really has been our quest, how to do this faster. And the answer came through Carl 10 years ago with the MindFlavors technology. Yes.
Initially, it was something that was created. The inspiration came to me for my own up-leveling in my consciousness. And it was only after I started getting, and both of us started seeing the significant effects from it, that we started sharing it with some friends and some family, and they started getting effects, up-leveling in their consciousness and seeing remarkable things happening in their lives. And that's when we decided that this is something that is best to share with others in the world.
Can I ask you a little bit about Sedona? Are you on the 33rd parallel? because it's like, just in terms of where you are location-wise, do you think that where you're located, does that make any difference? Has that been part of the unfolding of your life's work or multi-lives work?
Yeah, okay. We lived in different places. We lived in the Virgin Islands for a while on St. Thomas, and then we lived in New York City for a bunch of years. And then we really got called to leave New York City to come to Arizona and be in the desert, and just we had a month of doing nothing and just going deeper inside. And we were first outside of the Phoenix area. And then almost 2.5 years ago, though, something happened that brought us to Sedona. And I do feel like that's part of it. Like we came to Sedona to make it, what would you say, easier to continue?
Well, I would say the shift that happened from being here in Sedona and coming to Sedona, it elevated our focus on connecting with our divinity. And so that really shifted. And we had worked a lot with transformation in more of the 3D world, we could say. And then we were kind of brought by spirit, if you will, to be here in Sedona. And since we've been here, everything has shifted to just really amplify our connection with our divinity.
So can you tell us a little bit about how MindFlavors works? And you talk about wanting to up-level your consciousness, to keep amplifying that, to spread the impact, to reach more people. And I know you've got connected with people all over the world, and now the centre of the universe, Aotearoa, New Zealand. Can you just tell us a little bit about how this works and can help a person in their own journey of expanding as a soul and spirit?
So what the MindFlavors does is it utilizes sound frequencies, visual stimulation, colors, words, a variety of processes combined together to take us into a deep state of consciousness, kind of a deep meditative state. And what it does is it clears the limiting belief structures that are in our consciousness. It gives our brains an opportunity to kind of reset back to who we truly are, who we were before we took on all those limiting belief patterns from our experience in life. And one of the first things that most everyone who watches it experiences is a really profound level of clarity and freedom from a lot of that negative mind chatter that most individuals are carrying around with them. Even if they've pushed it aside and gotten to the point where they think they don't have it, most of the time when they watch the MindFlavors for the first time, they experience a profound clarity that they haven't experienced before.
They also say that they feel like they've come home. MindFlavors is really good at getting us out of our head, bringing us in our body, into our heart, where we can be present and really begin to feel who we truly are again.
Well, that was certainly my experience. I was really fortunate to be able to have a few trials of the MindFlavors tech, but my first one was really profound. In that my heart, I could feel these vibrations. And then I basically went on an intergalactic trip where I met all my ancestors and they shifted their sides and all sorts of things happened and all of this while I was wide awake, which I would classify as a very successful meditation, having meditated 2 hours a day for at least 10 years and trained as a hypnosis teacher. So I definitely know about Delta and Epsilon, and I experienced really significant visuals and body impact, as well as some true settlement of the mind, which many people are looking for. I think that's really the key to all of, whether you're looking for 3D transformation or whether you're looking to up-level and bring yourself closer to who you are, or whether you're just like wanting to sit in a peaceful field of dandelions, a gold green and look at the bees. We are all searching for that natural state of us, which is beautiful to experience. So yeah, I definitely felt that. But would you like to share about the impact that you had first on friends and family, but now you have a thriving membership? Would you like to just talk about some of the experiences of people who might undertake a 30-day transformation program?
Sure. Well, what happens with the MindFlavors is when we clear those limiting patterns of consciousness, we actually change our point of attraction. So all of our divine powers that we have that draw to us the things that we focus on, which is natural for us when we don't have those patterns blocking the way, that starts to happen very quickly. So we start to see, I would say, there are a couple of different ways to look at what happens. There are clearly many things in the physical 3D world that shift. Finances, relationships, potential up-leveling in health because the patterns are of the opposite are let go. And then there's the whole other dimension of the spiritual side of things. Maybe, Amy, you could talk on some of these of this.
Heightened intuition, seeing things before they happen, being really tuned into our inner guidance, and thinking becomes obsolete because we're listening. Same with planning, and a deeper connection with who we are. Really, we have many who come to us where they feel like they're in a transition, and they're ready for something new, and maybe they're not clear on what that is, and that comes to them. They become very clear on what that is. More joy, more love for who we are, for who they are. And we get this question so much, like, what really happens? And we truly say everything happens. Because when we clear away all the programs that are not who we are, and also we work with the body too, so we're clearing the cellular memory in the body, and we become lighter. It's a whole new world. It's a whole new way of living. And truly, you get what you're asking for, because that's what we're here for, to be our divine selves. And when we're tuned into who we truly are, our divinity, then we are naturally living the life that we came here for. And it's beautiful. I'm
going to ask you a hard question here. And because this is what I get a lot with people who I work with, because, you know, I mean, I mostly work with starseeds, claiming their mission down under, and past lives. So I work with a lot of people who've had no past lives as humans, and I'm also one of them. And a lot of starseeds and a lot of the people I work with say it's so lonely, and I think, and it's so lonely standing up and being individual, spiritual, in that, you know, in a very authentic way. What would you say is, you know, can MindFlavors help that feeling of loneliness in a 3D world?
Well, we just had someone
Absolutely.
who had that.
Yes. We just recently did another.
Profound.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It was so painful, his level of loneliness. That, and
he had met someone that he thought was his soulmate, and we were doing a podcast interview with him, and he got to experience the MindFlavors just before the interview, which was about 8 hours before. And then when he came to the interview, he told us how he was about ready to end that relationship because he didn't see how they could go forward anymore, and it was very painful for him because he thought it was his soulmate. And after watching MindFlavors, and this was just one time.
And he also talked on the loneliness, remember that?
Yes, he was very lonely. He just moved to another country, and so he was feeling that loneliness of being away from what was familiar to him, combined with this with his partner. And he came to the clarity between the time he watched the MindFlavors and the time we did the interview 8 hours later, that it was all his own creation, and it was just a matter of perspective, and he could see things completely differently after that. And he got clarity, and almost like in a download, he said to him, he got clarity that he absolutely was in the right place with his relationship, and that he was going to go, even almost apologize to her for not seeing things the way they really are.
And something profoundly shifted in him where he didn't feel that loneliness anymore.
Well, that's good, because I'm going to be sending people your way. And there's a lot of lonely people in the world. And if you're a starseed, don't be lonely anymore. No, seriously, that is something that I get a lot. They're the only starseeds. This earth is not a place where a sensitive, soul-searching, deep individuals can easily flourish. And you know, and maybe that's centuries of mind programming and conditioning that we've had around, you know, religion and spirituality. And, you know, there's so many things that are coming down. New Earth is really those who are prepared to see past the senses through the illusions that we've created and take control of that for themselves. So
I would say whatever your potential is, it's going to be amplified and freed in a full state of expression. When all of those constructs that we've kind of taken on, and it's natural, and I would say the ones that you're describing probably might even feel more of those types of things at different levels. What MindFlavors does is it clears away the things that are not who we are, so that who we truly are is what really shines forth.
And last question, in terms of the community that you've built, is that one where people are connecting through, or is it largely through the technology that people connect and then they move out into their own circles and have impact in that way, like tiny little spheres, like those dandelions in the field? Or is it a cohesive community where people come together and share experiences and network and grow and learn?
Well, presently, what we've been doing is we've been working very closely with our members.
One on one.
Two.
Yes,
We have a 100% success rate with our members because we are very focused on their success in their transformation. And for us, success is maybe different than what many consider success. We consider success to be when you're truly aligned with and living from your true divine being self. And there's something that's what we call a confidence of being that's kind of emerges where one who's doing this gets dialed into back to who they really are, and it makes it so that we feel complete with just being who we are in the moment, and then things just flow naturally. Ultimately, we will be expanding our community. We're presently working, like I said, 2-on-1, and we are in the process of expanding in order to see new ways that we can share this with more individuals.
We have done groups, and when one joins us, they join our MindFlavors family, and they have gotten to see each other and experience each other. So we have brought them together as a group, and we see that expanding.
Well, thank you very much for joining here today. If someone wants to get in contact with you, we'll have the links below for how they can access your program. Which is the best social way for someone to have contact with you?
Probably Facebook.
Definitely some lovely ones of your sharings, Amy.
I'd like to also say that presently we are offering a complimentary session if someone would like to experience the MindFlavors technology. And for that, they can go to mindflavors.com/experience. It really is like something you haven't ever experienced before, and that's why we offer this, so one can see for themselves what it's like.
Well, thank you, and thank you for being with us here today, and thanks for the audience who's listening. The information will be below for you to contact Amy and Carl of MindFlavors, and look forward to joining with you again in the future. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. Lots